If you've taken a US history course, there's a good chance that you probably know about Upton Sinclair's most famous novel, The Jungle. His famous expose of the meatpacking industry that was so grotesque that the government was forced to act on it and actually fix the meatpacking industry. Granted, it wasn't what Upton Sinclair wanted. He wanted them to fix the working conditions of the workers in the factories, not just make it so that the meat had to be cleaner. Given the fact that the book has become one of the most interesting parts of the progressive era, many people have been wondering why hasn't there been a movie adaptation of it? Well, if you haven't guessed by now, there actually was one. 8 years after the novel's publication, an adaptation was made by All Star Feature Corporation and directed by Augustus Thomas, George Irving, and John H. Pratt. It also stars some very prominent silent era actors, such as Gail Kane as Una and Julia Hurley as Elizabeth. From what I gather, it was a very simple adaptation, mostly just translating the book into a visual media, with very few plot changes. The biggest plot change being after discovering that Connors raped Ona, Jurgis throws him into a cattle stampede. Given that set of events, you can clearly tell that the company didn't pull any punches in regards to the film's production. Similar sentiment was echoed in reviews at the time, such as in Motion Picture News. Great care is taken in the details. The letters are shown in the original language in which they were written, and then by a dissolve are translated. The scenes showing the rotten meat, the sausages made with dead rats, the ham filled with maggots, are naturally nauseating but undeniably realistic. You can tell that the production crew really cared deeply about the subject matter, and you'd assume so because Sinclair was heavily involved in the making of the movie, including appearing at the beginning of the movie, giving a monologue, recounting the methods that he used to research the original novel. If you need more proof that this is a faithful adaptation of the book, well, the film is 5 reels long. For those who don't know what that means, that roughly translates to 1 hour and 15 minutes that has been broken up into 5 15-minute segments. However, despite all of the care and love that was put into this movie, it seems that the film was really polarizing upon its release, much like the original novel. However, one thing was made very abundantly clear upon analyzing the criticisms: it wasn't the film they had a problem with. Take this review from Variety. By the audience present Tuesday night at Weber's Broadway Theater, there won't be enough. Weber's had more seats empty that night than usual, and none of Mr. Sinclair's IWWs seemed to think his picture was worth the trip downtown, unless they all had jobs and couldn't get away. Although why the IWWs should prefer night work, if ever laboring, one couldn't imagine, unless it is that their whiskers don't seem so horrid in the dark. His movie was literally mentioned 1 time in that review. It's clear that this wasn't going to be the summer blockbuster. After all was said and done, Sinclair bought the film reels with the intention of trying to make a wider release down the line. However, outside of some further screenings at socialist meetings, this film hasn't really seen the light of day. We know it exists via the aforementioned film reviews and some pictures from production and promotion, and I'm sure you Lost Media heads have been sitting here for a while going, what's next? Unfortunately, there is no call for a search. This is more of just a history lesson, as I really have no clue where to even start looking. The company that made the film doesn't exist anymore, and literally everybody involved in the film is long dead. And to my knowledge, Sinclair doesn't have any living relatives, so I don't know if they would know where his warehouse is or anything of the sort. Or maybe there's a Sinclair museum out there or an exhibit that might have a clue where this could be. But I really just don't know where to look. Like a good 90% of Lost Media, I would definitely like to see it. It has a lot of historical precedent and stuff that is very important. Adaptation of one of the most well-known books in US history, footage of Sinclair, all that sort of stuff. If any of you have a clue where to start looking, or just happen to have the film just lying around somewhere for some reason, let me know. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to notify when a future video when it comes out. And if you're interested in more content from me, you can go to my website, follow me on Twitter, join my Discord, check out my articles on Independent Political Report, or consider supporting me on Patreon.